Hello, I'm Derek, and welcome back to The Drag Detective, where things are a little bit different now. I'm in my new studio. I have my lights, I have a mic here, and on August 28th, I will have a backdrop with my logo, and it will be very professional, and it will be very overdue. Honestly, overdue. But it's fine. I have my own office now, and I'm ready to raise the production level of this channel to, new heights. So, come on this journey with me. We're in a new era. Drag Detective 2.0. Let's fucking go. So, if you saw the title of this video, today we are going to be ranking the first 8 seasons of Drag Race All-Stars. I've had some time to sit with All-Stars 8, kind of reflect, go over what I liked, what I didn't like, all of those things. And I feel like I have a good enough opinion on it now that I can really place it where it deserves. So we are going to talk about all 8 seasons, talk about why I ranked them where I did, break down kind of how I did it, all of those things. Obviously, this is my opinion. I have put a lot of work into why I think this, and I'll go over my reasonings for everything, but your opinion, let's be real, it's probably different. It's probably very different, and that's okay. So in the comments below, instead of ripping me to shreds, which, so you're still gonna do, tell me what your ranking is and why. Watch this, see what I do, and then you can roast me if you need to, but please don't. Also, I know that I've been bombarding you with all this information, but I promise I'll stop. I'll stop after this, but my project, Drag Duel, which is a digital drag online competition, is officially premiered on the Drag Duel YouTube. If you have not already, which I know from the view count, a lot of you bitches haven't, just go give it a try. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but I would love for you to support it, give us some views, drop us some comments, support the iconic, amazing cast. They gave us such good content from this first episode. There's already drama, there's already relationships forming, there's already pre-existing relationships. So I'm very, very excited. This upcoming Monday will be our first main battle challenge where all of our contestants will be competing in a talent show, showing off what makes them different, showing off their drag. And I'll just say, there were many times watching these talent shows that my jaw literally dropped. They've done things I've yet to see on any drag show that I've watched. So if you want to support local drag artists who are being given a platform, Drag Duel is the perfect place. So go subscribe, go check it out. I would very much appreciate it. It is kind of like my baby at this point. I've put so much work into it. So it's exciting that it's out, and it's all yours now. So enjoy it. Okay, no more Drag Duel talk on this channel. We all know that's not true, but I'll try not to. So how did I rank these seasons? If you watched my video from a couple weeks ago, talking about which season was the best between 15, 14, and 13, then you saw that I implemented kind of a new way to break down a season, to rank a season, to rate a season, all of that. And it's based on 9 factors, although in All-Stars it'll be 8 factors. And those factors are the cast, the twists, the riggery, the challenges, the runways, the lip syncs, the finale, and the storylines. I also had reunion in the other one, but All-Stars only has had one reunion, I think, so that doesn't really factor in here. So based on these 8 factors, I gave each season a score of 1 to 5 on each factor, and then at the end, counted the total, and then ranked based off the total. So I feel like, for me personally, that's a great way to rank these. I'm not just, pulling things out of my head, oh yeah, I like this one, no, I don't like this one. This one there's data behind it. And you know me, I love a data chart. I love some data. Drag Race statistics is my bread and butter. If you watch my channel, none of these rankings should really surprise you all that much, but I think I'm gonna get roasted. I'll be honest. I think I'm gonna get roasted by 1 or 2 of these rankings, and that's okay. It's whatever. It comes with the territory, but this is just my opinion. So let's start out with what I think is the worst All-Star season based off my data, and that is All-Stars 8. Ooh. Across the board, All-Stars 8 just ranked very low for me. The cast, I think, had potential, but when we look at what they actually brought to the season, I feel like a lot of them just were not up to that standard we look for on All-Stars. I mean, I don't care if they're early outs, I don't care about any of that, but if you're going to be an early out, you have to bring it. And I feel like a lot of these people just didn't bring it. Some of the people we are expecting to bring it, who maybe were, top 4 or top 5 in their seasons, didn't bring it as hard. I feel like really Jimbo was the obvious standout on this cast. Did other queens do well too? Yes, Candy Muse did well. Alexis Michelle did well. Jessica Wilde obviously did really well. James Mansfield, before she went home, did well. But besides them, no one was really... Heidi in Closet, but, she went home too soon. But besides them, no one was really, shining the way that I wanted them to. So the competition just felt very stale. And as a group, I just don't think there was much cast chemistry, which is another very important thing when it comes to a season. How well does the cast mesh? How are they getting along? Is it an interesting dynamic? And I feel like in this season, it really just wasn't. The twists were the Fame Games and then the Lip Sync Assassin twist. Lip Sync Assassin twist did not work on the season. And the Fame Games, I liked the idea. I just think it was a little bit half-baked. I don't think it worked as well as they wanted it to. I think it was a little too vague. I think I want them to try this again. Just kind of fix it and maybe implement a couple more things to make it more interesting and make it work a little bit better. So twists also didn't work for me. The riggery, and this is obviously all these seasons are rigged, but when I judge this category, it's how angry does the riggery make me? Is it the kind of riggery where all right, I get why you did it and I'm fine with this? Or is it the riggery where I'm like, fuck you? You know what I mean? And this season, it was more fine than others. I think that, did Jimbo maybe get a challenge or two, wins that maybe she shouldn't have? Sure. Should Heidi have gotten more credit before she left? Sure. But in the grand scheme of things, this isn't the most rigged season ever. So I wasn't super pissed watching it every single week. So the riggery was not the worst. The challenges were fine. A lot of them were just not very inspired. Was there a really good Rusical? Yes. Was there a really good design challenge? Yes. But everything just felt kind of reused from other seasons. There really wasn't anything different except for the Forensic Queen challenge, which I thought was really, really fun and really, really good. So the challenges were kind of average for me, maybe a little bit below average. The runways, they weren't giving. They just weren't giving. And there were definitely some standouts. Obviously, Jimbo had amazing runways. Alexis Michelle had some amazing runways. Darian Lake had some amazing runways. But overall, this was not a season that I will remember the runways for. Same with the lip syncs. Most of the lip syncs were fine or bad. And that's because Jimbo won, all these challenges. But I don't really think I'm going to remember many lip syncs from the season except, the Aja and Kahana one to Freakum Dress. I mean, that, that started the season off on a very big high. And then after that, we were just... It was a nosedive. I also hated the finale. It was boring. It was just things we've already seen before. There were only 2 people competing, so of course it's going to be a little bit less, I guess, competitive because there's only 2 people that could possibly win. I don't think it worked. But I will say, the storylines on this season were definitely good. I liked the Lala and Alexis storyline. I thought Alexis had a very interesting arc as, she was trying to be the strategist and it just never really worked out for her. She kind of made every bad decision she could have in trying to be strategic to set herself up. And it was just a really kind of fun storyline to see her crash and burn. Sorry, Alexis, but it was a satisfying conclusion to she's trying to do all these things and then just crumbles and she gets sent home unanimously. I thought Jimbo and Candy's kind of relationship was a good storyline. I thought that Jessica being this iconic legend was a really fun thing to watch. So the storylines in this season were definitely better than on others. And this was one of the better categories for this season. But overall, out of 40 possible points, All Stars 8 got 17. And I really just think it's because this season didn't take any big swings whatsoever. They really didn't do anything outside of the norm, anything unexpected. They were literally just giving us a half-ass season. It really did feel like. And so I think that kind of shows in the rankings here where it's do other seasons maybe have more glaring issues? Maybe, but they were also more enjoyable in other aspects. Where in this season, everything was just mediocre. So there's nothing really pulling it up to be a better season than that. So, unfortunately, All-Stars 8 is going to be my least favorite All-Stars season. Also, Soak What Up, that sweat on that forehead, it is so fucking hot in this room. I had to turn off my fan, I turned off my AC. So, will I be sweating and dying? Yes, and that's fine. And if I pass out, well, that'll get me more views, so. Number 7, we have All-Stars 5. All-Stars 5, I think, suffers from some key issues where they were kind of pushing some girls ahead that I think were less interesting than girls they let go home early. The cast just did not have much chemistry at all. The challenges were just... boring, and most of them were either a redux of things we've already seen or just didn't work if it was something new, like the hotel challenge, like the SheMZ. But most importantly, the twist flopped. And, you know, the Lip Sync Assassin twist, that was the first season we've seen it on, and it did not work at all. It did not work even a little bit. The lip syncs were not great. The voting system really didn't do anything. There wasn't really much strategizing going on. Even like the Shea Coulee votes were like mayhem, and then voted for Shea. It wasn't to like strategize. It was literally just like, oh, we didn't want to vote our friend out. And like, did that turn into drama? Yes, but there wasn't much strategy behind it to make it very interesting. I think it suffers from the top 3 being super, super obvious. I think it suffers from the runways not necessarily always giving. You know, there was definitely good ones, but it wasn't like a runway season. The finale was so boring. Clapback is not a good finale song, and I think after Alexis goes home, it's kind of like we knew exactly what was going to happen, and it just became very, very boring. Even looking at the storylines, I mean, Derek versus India was great, but that only lasted 1 episode. India versus Alexis was really fun, but that kind of also ends immediately because India gets sent home. Blair has nothing to do. Jujubee is just there as a confessional queen. Cracker starts out the villain, but they don't want to fully commit to the villain edit, so she's just kind of like there. Shea gets the like redemption storyline where like she finally gets to win, but like there wasn't many storylines that were engaging all the way through the season. So it just becomes kind of a slog to get through. I know when I was watching it again, when I did the Riggery video for it, I was like, can I just move on with my life? Can I please move on with my life? There wasn't anything to keep me coming back. I wasn't engaged. I wasn't invested. And it just was not what I wanted it to be. With how good some of this cast was, I mean, we got like Mariah, we got Alexis Mateo, we got Jujubee, we got Angina and Derek. It was like the people that I really wanted to see do well and have their like comeback moment didn't do well. And the people that I was kind of expecting to already do well did well. So it was just kind of a very predictable and bland watch. And I think that is why it is at number 7. So out of the 40 possible points, All Stars 5 got 20, which is like half. Okay, number 6, we have what I think a lot of people rank at number 8. But I think if they were to rewatch it, they would maybe take that back. It is All Stars 1. The very first one, the twist is the worst part. The team twist sucks. It's really, really not great. I think it stunts the entire season. It shortens the season to only 6 episodes, which I think also really does a number on the storylines because there just isn't enough time to like establish them. And with all of these queens coming in with so much history, especially back then when there was only like, 40 people who have been on the show, they had some very tight relationships, but you didn't really see that on the show. I will say this is the best cast. All Stars 1 and All Stars 2 had the best casts in All Stars history. This cast is stacked. There's not a single person I would not put on the season. Even Mimi I'm First, she brought the drama, she brought the craziness, she brought the fun, so I think she was a great casting choice. Every single person deserved to be on an All-Star season, deserved to be representing that first All-Star season, and were really just like pillars of those first couple Drag Race years. So, cast, phenomenal. Twist, sucks. And there's a couple of other things that I think just don't age super well. It's just kind of consistent with those early seasons. The runways and the lip syncs just aren't as good as they are now, for the most part. A lot of these lip syncs since they're so short, they're only like, 40 to 50 seconds. Whereas now we get like 2-minute lip syncs and we can really sit down and enjoy. The lip syncs back then were like 50 seconds and like half of that is other people's confessionals like on top of the lip sync. So you really miss a lot. And besides Dancing on My Own, which isn't necessarily a good lip sync, it's just a good like dramatic moment, I don't think the lip syncs are that great. Tammy Brown and Latrice Royale, their lip sync was fun, but it was also like 30 seconds. So like the lip sync suffer, the runway suffer, and that's just kind of like comparing it to the seasons we have now, where like it just doesn't stack up. I mean, the caliber of drag has increased with every single season, that like this one just feels very basic overall. What I think is good about this season that other seasons struggle in is the finale. That finale was really, really fun. They had the top 4 kind of do like almost like a gauntlet of things they had to do. They had to go to Hamburger Mary's and accept an award. They had to go do a live stand-up set at this comedy club. Then they had to, go do a runway. Like, there was a lot of stuff they had to do, and it felt like it really filled out the time. Whereas, like, in All-Stars finales now, they sit down with RuPaul for their Tic Tac lunch, and they talk about how they want to win so bad, and they practice for their final number, and then they reflect on the season as a whole, and then they do their number, and then they do their runway, and then it's over. Whereas like this one was like, go accept an award, go do a stand-up number, go do a... Like, they were really, like, making them do a lot of shit, and it was really interesting, and it was really fun, and it was different, which I appreciated. So the finale, I think it's my favorite All-Stars finale, except maybe All-Stars 2. So the finale since then just have not stacked up. So I will give it that. What makes this better than the last 2 seasons is, even if I was annoyed with the twists, even if I was bored with the runways and the lip sync, this cast delivered comedy, entertainment, fun. Every confessional felt so interesting and hilarious, and it was just goofy and silly and kind of that older Drag Race vibe. And I just really, really had fun watching it. Even if I wasn't enjoying everything, I was consistently entertained, which I can't say for All-Stars 5 or for All-Stars 8. So out of the 40 possible points, All-Stars 1 got 21, which is only 1 point above All-Stars 5. But I do think I agree that it is better. So this system works. Okay, so at number 5, and this is where I'm going to get raked over the coals, but I don't give a fuck. I don't care, because this is the right opinion. In my mind, this is the right opinion. Number 5 is All-Stars 7. Yes, I said it, the all-winner season. Is there aspects of it that is really good? Yes, which is why it's above those last 3 seasons. The runways, the best runways we'll ever probably see on this show, unless they do another winter season. The runways were insane. But that's to be expected. These people are winners. They have huge budgets. I think they got money for their runways. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they got some money to put into their runways. And obviously the cast. I mean, we have amazing winners. How could that cast not be iconic? But I would even say that the cast could have been better. You know, the cast really was just mostly people who had been on in the last 2 or 3 years. And a lot of the people that we wanted to see who haven't been on the show in a long time were nowhere to be seen. The only people who hadn't been on in the last 2 or 3 years was Jinx and Raja. And I think that really kind of made the novelty go away, because in all winners, I'm like, oh, let's bring back these bitches we haven't seen in a while. But it was mostly people who have literally just been on my TV. So it wasn't as like exciting to see them come back, because I just saw you. I literally just saw you last year, or like 6 months ago, or like whenever. So the cast, while great, could have been better. I have a lot of issues with this season. I think that the twist doesn't work. For me, the twist didn't work. Because they didn't know what challenges were coming up, they were just guessing on who to block with the platinum plunger, the gold, whatever, the gold plunger, whatever it was. It was just guessing. Whereas, like, you can't really strategize if you don't know what's coming next. You just have to guess. So I think this would have worked more if they knew what challenge was coming up and they could strategize, okay, who do I need to block? I think that would make it much more interesting. It would make it a better twist in general. I think it did its job, but I wasn't like, oh, this is a great twist. I think the lip syncs also were not great, because a lot of the people that were winning a lot of challenges aren't known for being the greatest lip syncers in the world. You know, the Vivienne and Jinx Monsoon, you know, the people that you really want to see lip sync a lot, Monet and Shea and Jada, they weren't winning much. so we didn't get to see them lip sync a lot. It was unfortunate that it's kind of like a Jimbo, where it's like, do I want to see Jinx Monsoon lip sync to Lizzo? No, I don't need to see that. I think that the challenges were good, but I wish that they were better. I think we got a lot of the same. We got the roast, we got the ball, we got the talent show, things that we've already seen before, whereas I would have really wanted to see them try different things, because these are winners. You know, I want to see them not expecting what's being thrown at them. But a lot of the challenges were things we've seen. I liked the graduation challenge. I liked how we did the fairy tale justice. I like how they had to do 2 characters for Snatch Game. I just wish there was more. The TikTok challenge, that was really good too. I wish there was more consistency in like switching things up. The riggery was also so annoying. It was so annoying, especially, you know, that last episode where like Shea just gets thrown into the finale. Do I think she would have made it there if it was unrigged? Yes, and you can go watch my video on that. But it was just, you could tell that they had exactly what they wanted to happen in their heads, and they really didn't care what actually happened on the season. They knew what was going to happen. They knew Raja was going to win. She hadn't already had her thing, even though Evie ate her up. They knew that Jinx was going to win the season, even though that Monet ate her up in that final lip sync. Like, it really just felt like they went in and they were like, here's exactly what's going to happen. Now we just need to pull the strings to make sure that it does. This is I think this is the most rigged season of all time, and it makes sense that it is because these are winners, because these are representing your entire franchise. It makes sense that they would have more of an idea of what they want to happen, but I just wish they were less obvious, I guess, with what they wanted. And you could tell that the queens were really upset too, because they filmed a whole ass reunion against WoW's wishes that they had to have a cease and desist sent against them, and I still want to see that reunion. So whoever wants to hack Bob's laptop, please do that. The finale also just wasn't great. It was the lip sync tournament, which we've seen 1,000 times, and they've been lip syncing all season long. It was nothing different, and it felt small because we've seen it be the finale on so many other seasons. This wasn't different or new or like grander. It was just more of the same. And that's just my biggest complaint, is this season felt so small for how grand it should have been. Why wasn't any of these things in front of a live audience? Why wasn't this given the Secret Celebrity Drag Race treatment? This just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. And the storylines weren't great. No one went home, so like there were basically no storylines other than like, let's see them have fun in the workroom, which is great, but this season leaves a lot to be desired. And I think if people rewatch this season, they'll see what I'm talking about more. I think like once the like grandiosity of like this is an all-winner season, once that kind of wears off and you're just watching it in hindsight, it's just a bland season of Drag Race that has some great runways and some great challenge performances as well. But it definitely suffers in a lot of areas, so that's why it ended up at my number 5. So out of the 40 points possible, All-Star 7 got 25, which is like higher than the others that we've seen so far, but not as high as we're going to get. So, number 4, my number 4 favorite season of Drag Race All-Stars is All-Stars 3. Now, All-Stars 3 is one of those seasons that is kind of a mixed bag. There are things that are amazing, and there are things that are not. The worst things of this season are the finale, the twists, and the riggery. The riggery is infuriating. It is literally like, I don't really want to go rewatch this season because I know that I'm going to get upset when I see what happens to Thorgy, when I see what happens to Aja, when I see what happens to Shangela in the finale. I mean, that twist, I don't think the twist was rigged. I don't think it was rigged that Shangela, didn't make the top 2, but I think if you're going to do this twist, you can't just throw it on them at the end. They had to know about it beforehand. That's why I think the twist doesn't work. If they know about it going in, then they can strategize about it. But when it's just thrown at them at the last minute, it's just kind of like, well, fuck, what do we do now? I also think that the returning episode twist doesn't work. I think that the first eliminated girls very clearly won that challenge, and it would have been a fucking gag to see them win, and then they get to eliminate someone. That would have made the twist interesting and worth it. But instead, we just got what was expected, which was, oh, well, of course the girls who are still in the competition won, because we can't make them look bad, because one of them is winning. And then, they'll pick... It was just kind of like, oh, well, that could have been really cool, but it wasn't. The things that were amazing. The runways. The runways on this season were so good, thanks to Trixie and Shangela and Ben and Aja. I also think the cast was great. I think this was the first season where we kind of delved into people who weren't necessarily like all-stars on the show. Like Milk never won a challenge. Milk went like barely halfway, if that. Trixie won one challenge, but wasn't there for half her season, and, was not really a huge standout when it came to the competition on her season. But did they deserve to be on All-Stars? Hell yeah, and they showed why. Milk gave us iconic moments, iconic delusion, one of my favorite storylines, and Trixie won the damn thing. But you also have powerhouses of Drag Race, like Shangela, like Ben de la Creme, like Bibi Zahara Benet, like Morgan McMichaels, and then people who, like, I think really deserve to have a little bit of a redemption, like Chi Chi and Aja. So it was a great cast. There was great chemistry with the cast. I also think the season has great lip syncs. Aja, we get to see lip sync, amazing. Ben brings great stuff to a lip sync. Shangela, obviously, amazing lip syncer. So we got really blessed with our lip syncs this season. They were great. Also, the challenges. We got so many fun challenges, like the Bitchler, like Divas Live. I thought the Sitting on a Secret and Drag Up Your Life challenge was really, really good. The storylines, I think they were there, but they could have been better. I think that the The Shangela and Trixie fight was really fun. I think the Milk versus Kennedy thing is iconic. Ben really struggling all season long with eliminating people is great. So could have there been more? Yes, but I liked what we got as well. So it's definitely a mixed bag, but there's definitely more that I like than I dislike, which is why it ends up here at number 4. And out of the 40 points, it got 27. So like just a little bit more than All-Star 7, which I agree that this season is like, it does have issues, just like All-Star 7, but I think that I like it just a little bit more. As more of the rewatchability factor for me. I don't need to go rewatch All-Star 7. I can just go watch the challenges and the runways on YouTube. Whereas like this season, I would sit down and rewatch. Okay, next up, we have number 3, and I think this is also going to be controversial, but it is All-Stars 4. But I think it runs into the same issues that All-Stars 3 and 7 do, which it just doesn't stick the landing. All-Stars 3 does not stick the landing with that Shangela, getting kicked out. All-Star 7 doesn't stick the landing with Shea and Monet getting 3 stars, and then that really lackluster finale and rigged finale. So I think these all have the very same issues, but unlike All-Stars 3 and All-Stars 7, I had basically no issues with All-Stars 4 for the whole rest of the season. The first 8 episodes, amazing. So much fun. Amazing cast, amazing storylines and drama, and there's so much tension, but also there's so many good friendships, and there's funny moments, and it's just like, it is filled with everything you would want in a Drag Race season. Does it completely fall off the rails when Manila goes home? Yes, those last 2 episodes are abysmal. But those first 8 episodes are like top tier Drag Race, and if it had been, as consistent in those last 2 episodes, there's an argument that this could have been my favorite, because Manila and Monet and Trinity absolutely slaying the competition. You have Valentina and Pheromone storyline. You have Gia Gunn terrorizing the entire production of this thing. You had Latrice kind of with this like underdog moment where she like wasn't doing as well. She gets sent home and then she gets to come back. She wins a challenge. You have the relationship with her and Manila. I mean, there is so much great content on this season. The runways, I would argue that this season is close to being as on par with All-Star 7's runways, because you had Trinity and Manila and Monet and Pheromone even had some amazing runways. Valentina had amazing runways. Basically everyone was delivering on the runways. Latrice was like a little bit behind everyone else, but I even liked a lot of Latrice's runways as well. So the runways were so good. The lip syncs, next level. I mean, we have Manila in How Will I Know. We have Trinity in Emotions. We have Valentina in Into You. We have the double save with Manila and Monet to that Aretha Franklin song, which was amazing. The Lollapalooza episode, that twist was amazing. That twist worked so well. We got the Naomi lip sync in that. We got Naomi's lip sync at the end of the season to the Judy Garland song. So many good lip syncs, amazing runways, amazing storylines. The twists were fun. The eliminations they felt correct. Was there riggery? For sure, but it wasn't like All-Stars 3 where I was like fuming watching the whole thing. All-Stars 4 is so consistent until the last 2. And honestly, I can just skip those last 2 episodes and I'm having a great time for the rest of it. So All-Stars 4, love that season. It ended up getting 30 out of the 40 points for me, and I think it very clearly deserves its spot at number 3. For me. At number 2, and I'm pretty sure most people have the same top 2, All-Stars 6 and All-Stars 2. I think those are the kind of the most popular All-Star seasons, most consistent All-Star seasons amongst the fandom. So which will be my number 2 and which will be my number 1? Well, if you watch this channel, you know what my comfort season is. But if I'm looking at it objectively, All-Star 6 is number 2 for me. If I had to pick, like, what's your favorite season of Drag Race, I'm probably going to say All-Star 6, because it just has that, like, comfort factor for me, and it makes me feel warm and fuzzy when I watch it. But if I'm looking at it objectively, I do think All-Stars 2 is a better season. But All-Star 6 is the season of redemptions. Almost everybody gets a redemption. Almost everybody gets their moment to shine. Even the early outs like Jiggly Caliente and Silky Nutmeg Ganache get moments in the lip sync Lollapalooza episode to really show off their skill and why they are all-stars. I mean, that lip sync Lollapalooza episode where Silky Nutmeg Ganache just annihilates everybody in sight, but then loses in the last second to Eureka, who is just giving everything she has in that last lip sync, because she's interpreting it as like she's singing it to her mother who just recently passed away. I mean, that's television gold. That episode is one of probably the top 5, top 10 episodes of Drag Race ever. The twists, great. The Lip Sync Assassin twist worked so well. the like lip sync for your spot back into the competition. They should do that every season. Why didn't they do that on All Stars 8? I don't know. The runways. Not as consistent as All Stars 4, but the people who were delivering. I mean, Kylie and Trinity and Raja and Jan and Akira, Chanel Davenport, obviously. Even Ginger, who is not known as a runway queen, had some really, really fun, campy runways. The lip syncs, this is probably the most consistent season for lip syncs ever, and we got a lot of them. Because it's a 12-episode season, plus there's like 7 or 8 lip syncs in that returning episode. And I would say of all of the lip syncs on this season, the only one who is a clunker is Boom Clap. And it's not even bad, it's just boring. So probably the best lip sync season we've ever seen, except for maybe like season 6. But even then, I think this season's better. The cast has such chemistry. I don't even care that not shit happens in Untucked, because I just get to watch them hang out. And it's so interesting. The casting was so smart. You have Scarlet Envy and Raja O'Hara, who had tension on their original season. You have queens like Eureka and Trinity and Jiggly, who aren't afraid to like speak up and like aren't just there to look like, you know, the most perfect humans alive. We got really raw moments from almost everyone on this cast. Jan is such good casting. She's iconic. Is she delusional at times? Yes, but that's iconic. And that's where I think the storylines also really work. Jan's like rise and fall and rise again on this season it was a roller coaster, bitch. It's one of my favorite storylines of all time on Drag Race. Trinity's redemption, Raja's redemption, Kylie's redemption. I mean, so good. An amazing winner. And going into that finale, I had no clue who was going to win. I thought it was definitely going to be between Raja and Kylie, but Ginger could have won and I wouldn't have been surprised. I mean, there was so much tension going into that finale because I cared so much. I cared so much about who was going to win. And I was like, Raja or Kylie, they're 50-50. Either one of them could win and I would be thrilled and so happy. And now they both have ground. So, like, I'm over the moon. All-Star 6 is just so fucking good. It's so good. I rewatch it all the time. Not all the way through, but I'm like, I feel like watching the American Horror Story episode today. Or I feel like watching that commercial challenge today. Or I just want to watch Silky Slay. So I'm going to watch that lip sync. Like, there's always a reason to watch. You know what I mean? It livens me up. It's everything you could ever want in a Drag Race season. And I was so hoping that All Stars 8 was going to be giving this energy, and it didn't. So out of the 40 points, it got 34. And my number one, All Stars 2, got 37 out of the total 40 points, which deserved, let's be real. All Stars 2, they waited 4 years between All Stars 1 and 2, and they made it worth the wait. I mean, I think if you ask most people, what's your favorite season of Drag Race, it's going to be either Season 6 or All Stars 2, and it's for good reason. I mean, this season is just, it's insane. The storylines on this season, you have the Alyssa and Fifi tension. You have Fifi's, like, absolute, like, descent into, like, villainy and getting ousted by 2 people at once. I mean, poor Fifi, Jeremy Carey, as he now likes to be known. But poor Fifi, but, like, you have to admit that was good TV. That was amazing television. You have Rolaska Talks just taking everybody out and people being like, what the fuck am I going to do now? You have the 2 eliminations of Alyssa and Tatiana absolutely, like, shattering your soul, only for them to come back in the best lip sync of all time, only for them to go home back to back yet again because of Rolaska Talks. You have kind of Katya filling in for that Jinx role, where, like, she's the only one there that's, like, has really any competition to them, and she makes it to the end and has a good shot of winning, but it just doesn't happen. But Katya being there is, I think, the magic ingredient in this season, because not only is it giving you kind of another option other than Rolaska Talks on who could win, but she's just such a good underdog. And she shouldn't be an underdog because she won 3 challenges. The way that she portrays herself, it's just it's big underdog energy, and you can't help but root for her, especially on this season. The talent show was so good. The challenges are so fun. Even the acting challenge, I liked it. It was the Shequel challenge. That was a good acting challenge. And it was because all of these queens were delivering on such a high level that, like, it was just a marvel to watch. And I don't watch this season as much as, like, All-Star 6, but whenever I do, I'm like, this is some good shit. You know what I mean? It's like, as much as I want to believe that All-Star 6 is the greatest season of all time, I will swallow my pride and say, you guys are right. It's All-Stars 2. Will I still say All-Star 6 is my favorite? Yes, I will. But All-Stars 2, there's almost no flaws. There's literally almost no flaws. The runways, the lip syncs, the challenges, the queens, the storylines, the eliminations, the finale, tens across the board. Literally tens across the board. And even if you disagree with most of my list, at least we can all agree on this one. So those are my rankings for the first 8 All-Star seasons. I thought about doing UK versus the world and Canada versus the world, but like they're so different and they're so short that I just was like, I'm gonna leave them out. If I had to rank them, I think UK would probably end up like maybe above. I think it would be like second to last. Like I think it's better than All-Stars 8, but I don't think it's like that much better. And I think Canada would probably be above like All-Stars 1. So let me know. What do you think? What are your thoughts? I'm sure you disagree. That's okay. It's fine. It's totally fine. I promise it's fine. It's for sure 1000% okay. Also comment below, because I want to know which one of you bitches are watching, which one of you bitches are supporting and streaming. Who are you rooting for on Drag Duel? Who's your number one pick on Drag Duel to take the crown? So comment that below. So the real ones will know. So I'm just going to shame you all into watching it. I'm just going to be like, if you don't watch Drag Duel, you are ugly and poor. So that's your problem. That's not mine. No, I'm kidding. Sort of. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. The links to all of my social medias will be in the description below. If you are not already, which, again, I'll just shame you. I'm kidding. I swear I'm kidding. Subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit 75K. We're getting closer and closer by the day, but I'd love to get there by the end of the year. So help me with that goal of mine, and subscribe and like the video. And there's a lot of really fun content coming out soon. I'm doing a lot of different videos I haven't done before. So I'm very excited to get those out to you. And that's it. That is all I have for you today. I love you all, and I will see you all in the next one.